Jim McGregor. I'm here at the Harman booth at MWC, and Luis is actually going to walk me through the Ready Vision solution that Harman has in more detail than what we had with the automotive demo. So tell me what we have here.
Perfect. So what we have here today to demonstrate are two different products. The first is Ready Vision QView, which is our reflective display technology for the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second is Ready Engage, which is our personalized AI-powered assistant, Luna. So we can start with Ready Vision QView. Last year at MWC, what we did was introduce QView as a product. And this year, what we want to do is focus on the QView experience themes. So for 2025, we're focusing on the 3 I's. It's intelligent, it's interactive, and it's immersive. We're incorporating intelligent design with QView plug-and-play software, which has intuitive software features and custom information modes to make sure that you get the right information at the right place. We are creating an interactive user experience with steering wheel controls and our IVI configurator app, as well as personalized experiences with our virtual personal assistant, Luna. And then finally, we are enabling an immersive experience with pillar-to-pillar advanced QView hardware. So new for 2025 in our QView hardware is that we have updated it with a unique geometry. We have a custom freeform edge and tapered edges, which has this unique geometry, helps us to integrate seamlessly into your IP. So when you look at this this setup over here, where we have our 3 displays, which are integrated at the bottom of the windshield, that are reflected onto the windshield to give you that virtual image. So the unique geometry allows us to minimize the gap between each display and make it seem as if it's one display across the entire unit. However, we're achieving this through a modular approach by using 3 different displays.
So what's the maximum intensity on that in terms of lumens?
It's about 5,000 nits. So it's intended to be a cluster replacement solution, which has 5,000 nits. It's powered by Samsung Neo QLED backlight, which means that we have high color gamut with vivid colors and brilliant optics. We're providing full array local dimming. So when you take a look at Luna over here, She looks like she's floating in space. This is that true black feel that we're able to achieve by only turning on the right LEDs at the right time.
Now, I have to ask you about Luna. I do like having the avatar in the vehicle because it creates that personal kind of connection. It's nice to actually see somebody talking to you than just hearing somebody talk to you.
I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. Actually,
I have to ask you, does it have to be a cat?
It does not have to be a cat.
Okay.
So, I mean, and actually, Luna is intended to be a dog or a little puppy.
But it was a cat.
But the great thing about our virtual personal assistant is that the color, the theme, the visuals, the voice, and even the avatar itself is all customizable. So if you take a look at our display over here, so Luna is a skeleton in of itself that we can dress up however you want. It's an anthropomorphic avatar that we can place any character on behind. So you can adjust it and personalize it to your needs.
So how about an Alice Cooper? No, just kidding.
Why not?
I'm just thinking out of the box here.
So no, it's extremely customizable. And you're right, it's intended to build that emotional connection between the user and the technology. Mm-hmm. We're trying to establish a connection that feels kind of friendly, easy, and approachable. She's emotionally intelligent, so she's able to create personalized AI-powered interactions that can anticipate the driver's needs through visuals, through voice and visuals. So this is what we think is new for 2025. Like you were mentioning before, right? VPAs have been in the industry for a while. You've heard of a lot of them. And what we've done is leverage our QView technology to visualize the assistant for you, to help build that emotional bond with our technology.
I have an even better idea. I think the Count from Sesame Street. One stoplight, two stoplights. No, just kidding.
That's great. No, I mean, obviously, I think there's going to be some IP issues with trying to use Sesame Street, but no, great ideas. I mean, the whole intention is that it is a customizable avatar for the user, for the OEM, to help reflect the unique brand identity as well. So, it's a great point. So what I'll do now is kind of show you a couple of different ways that we interact with our QView. So we have a QView plug-and-play software, which allows for multimodal interactions. The first one that we'll go through is our steering wheel control. So we're able to modify and interact with our cluster using the steering wheel controls. So we can change the information that's being displayed. Excuse me, 1 second.
So I have to ask you, this is all software upgradable, but how often is it going to be upgraded, or can you determine how often it's going to be upgraded?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or maybe that's a question for the OEM.
Yeah, it might be a question for the OEM. It depends on how the software is integrated. Ideally, maybe we would have OTA kind of updates depending on what kind of hardware is within the vehicle. But obviously, we can follow up and give you more information on how we would do updates with this kind of software once it's integrated into the vehicle.
Okay.
And so we are able to control the different information that's being displayed on the cluster through the steering wheel. We're also able to completely customize all of the information that's being displayed on your screens through the IVI Configurator app. So right now it's showing you the weather, but maybe you just want to have a clock. So it's showing you the clock. We can change what kind of clock you're showing. And right now it's in a simplified mode. It's intended to have more black space so that it's not overloading the driver with information or graphical images, but we do have the ability to update that graphic, change what we're showing, and kind of amplify the immersive experience. So if we go back to the weather, you can take a look at, it's a much bigger graphic that's shown now. We can do the forecast. We're connected to your calendar, so you know when your meetings are coming up. We're also able to kind of show you when there's POIs nearby, for example, gas stations, restaurants, things like that, all shown through these. And what the idea is that we have presets and customer profiles where you can set up the exact information that you want to be displayed on.
Now, can you adjust what information you have on this side of the display versus that side or the center display?
So the center and basically every display except for the first one.
Except for the first one, okay.
Well, the first one you can modify, for example, your eco mode or your gas, things that are more related to your cluster.
Yeah.
This one is a cluster replacement, so you wouldn't need to have any cluster information here.
Yeah.
It's all done through here. However, the bulk of the information is not going to be customizable in this kind of setting. Maybe the graphics and the UI would be changed based on OEM or based on customer, but the information that's going to be displayed is kind of set. The other information for gas and things can be updated. However, you can change Luna to the last screen as well. You can modify what's being displayed here. For example, You set it up the way that you want and you create your own preset, your own profile for your vehicle.
So the question is what hardware and software platform is this running on? Because the reason I asked that is because obviously we're going to have multiple electronic systems in a vehicle. We're going to have the ADAS system and everything else. And automotive vendors are finicky. Mm-hmm. They like to have control of what they're doing. They don't like to be dictated to. So that kind of dictates what they end up using in the end.
Right. So we have a plug-and-play software. And ideally, we sell you the entire product line. So what we have here is everything is running on our Harman Ready Upgrade domain controller software. So we have our own internal computer that's kind of generating, that's running the software as well as running the displays themselves. Ideally, we sell you the whole package. However, our displays can work with any other.
And it is a Harman compute platform that's running on as well.
That's correct. Everything is a Harman product that you see here today. Just like in the vehicle, it's a connected experience between all of the entire portfolio of our Harman Ready products.
And what's the operating system?
So right now this is Android-based.
Okay.
It's an Android-based software that we're using. So, and just to give you a little bit of background, I am more focused on hardware design. So when we get too deep into the software, we can always follow up on that and I can give you more details.
That's okay. I'm just wondering. I like the Android solution, and I think that's probably the best solution, and I really hope automotive vendors choose that, because then at least they're going with a common system or solution that's already out there in the industry,
right? Rather
than trying to do something completely
brand
custom.
New.
So.
Okay.
But you never know what they're going to do.
Exactly.
I used to work for a company that had to do 6 different versions of a flash memory device for automotive vendors just because they wanted a different pinout on the same device.
It's crazy.
So,
but the last thing that I did want to show you is that we do have a couple of unique features that are particular to CubeView alone. So we have, for example, backup visualization that works with the vehicle's hardware proximity sensors to help show you when objects are near to your vehicle. So like you see in the screen over here, it would kind of tell you when there's, for example, a pedestrian that's near to your vehicle. If you can imagine that you're parked and you have no visibility because there's 2 vehicles next to you, this is helping to show you when there's a pedestrian crossing or a vehicle that's crossing.
I
behind it.
saw that. That was really cool. And I have a question for you. I keep asking this of everyone because the original RNN models that we trained on the internet were all based on cats and dogs. Can it determine if it's a cat or a dog?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because none of the automotive demos I've seen can determine what the animal is. And I just think that's funny since we spent so much time doing that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to speak too much about the software. I mean, about the hardware or the software that kind of does, recognition, just because we don't work with that directly. We're getting, for example, feeds from existing radars.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit difficult, but to understand whether or not like the image processing can determine it. However, that's something that we can probably follow up on just because that's not a product that we deliver. It's more of a product, the hardware that we use to help visualize within our own user interface.
Okay.
The next thing that I wanted to show you is the transparent hood. So the idea is that when you are sitting in the driver's seat, you have very limited visibility between 0 and about like 6 meters in front of the vehicle. And so what we've done is integrate this with the camera to show you what's directly in front of your vehicle. So for example, if there are pets or there are obstacles that are directly in front that you can't see and that you might hit with your bumper, we're able to visualize that for the driver, making it sight beyond sight, completely transparent for the driver to be able to make it a safer driving experience.
That's good. And that is that integrated with any object identification models or anything like that?
So I believe that it can be integrated with object identifying models. However, right now it would be within our roadmap to be able to identify what's exactly in front of your vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I
No,
really
it was my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. So.